How we doing?
You hear me?
Yep.
You got the wild Wi-Fi going. There you go. It's good, my dude.
Good. Are you good? Are you good on your end? Is it working?
I'm good on my end. It's like choppy on your side.
Really? Hold on one
Yeah, I
second.
got.
How about now? Am I any better?
Yeah,
It's better?
yeah, it's better.
Cool. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Leeds Entertainment Podcast, brought to you by Chubby Chickpea Restaurant. We got a very special guest today, DJ Deadeye. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm feeling great, bro.
Nice. Where you at right now?
It looks good. Looks good right now in there.
It's real close on your face. You might want to pull back a little bit, but
There you go.
where
It's
you at
cause
right now?
it's like lifted up and shit.
There you go.
There we go. I'm in my office and shit in Lawrence.
Oh, Law Town.
Yes, sir.
So you're
Not
born
born,
in
not born, but bred.
yeah, you're
What's the
you're
deal?
born yeah. You're born in Dominican, right? Dominican Republic?
I was born in Puerto Rico, and
Puerto
then
Rico.
I moved to Dominican Republic when I was little for like 3 years, and then I moved to Lawrence.
Oh, word.
Basically, baby Puerto Rico, baby DR.
Nice. So
Yeah, man.
basically raised in Lawrence, Lawtown.
Yeah, basically raised. Yeah. Um, I've been here since I was like 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I've been here like 36 years or something like that.
And you've never left?
I mean, just to travel, I'll come right back though.
Right.
Keeps me grounded, bro.
Yeah. Talk to me about Lawrence. I've talked, I've grown up not too far from Lawrence, right over the line in New Hampshire. But
Yes,
that's quite the
indeed. 10
experience.
minutes, 10 minutes from Salem.
Yep. Yep. How
Yeah.
what was it like growing up in Lawrence for you?
In the 80s it was ill. You just kind of growing up, you're small, you're little as shit. There's a lot of crazy shit that goes on, but you're not privy to those things because you're just an adolescent. But it was real fun. We had to be outside. We had to play baseball outside, street football, all that stuff. Basketball was heavy in the streets out here for sure. And then in the 90s it got kind of crazy. A lot of gangs, a lot of arson, a lot of insurance scamming, car theft. It was just like a trying to get it type place,
Yeah.
in the 90s. So that it was crazy. Like it was probably like, 'cause Lawrence is little. Lawrence is like 6 miles tops. So there was probably like at one point probably like 30 or 40 gangs in like a 6 mile thing. So some people were like in like two gangs. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
the 90s were a wild time for sure.
My car
But
got
after that, like these kids got it like super nice. Everything's being rebuilt. They got playgrounds, they got places to go. Everything's pretty nice now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 90s was rough. My car got stolen and it found in Lawrence.
Definitely, dude. Nah, it was a different time. The insurance scam thing was crazy. Because it was not only like street people, it was like older people were involved, like doctors, like chiropractors, like all types of shit. It was crazy, man. It was a wild time. 90s were different out here. But then
Talk,
since then it's been good though.
yeah, let's talk about the Honda Civics with the booming systems in Lawrence.
Yo, dude. And the Toyota Corollas.
Yep.
And then in the early 90s, it was like the little ass Corollas. It was like two-seat, two doors, real low. You put mad plastic shit all over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yo, it was bad. It was a bad time for that, yo. I wasn't a fan of that time. But it still be out here though. Well, I was just talking about that actually. It wasn't a Corolla. It wasn't a Civic. It was an Accord today with
What
like
about
the weird ass exhaust and the super low with the music mad high. It's crazy, man. I'm
what
like, they
about the
still doing it.
yeah? What about the purple tint? Does that still exist? Remember the cars?
Maybe, you. It might still be a thing. It might still be a thing. Everybody's car was found in Lawrence. That was a comment. um, yeah, I haven't seen the purple tints in a long time, but those were a thing. Probably up until like 2012, 2013. That's probably the last round of purple tints I saw. But they might still exist.
The CD hanging from the rear view,
With the flag, you got the flag CD.
Yeah, and then you had
With
the Crown Royal thing.
Yeah, the Crown Royal bag. You had the CD that was one side, it was a CD, the other side it was like the Dominican flag or the Puerto Rican flag. Them things are still around.
You see,
even though nobody got a CD player in the car.
Yeah, and then you see, you see these Honda Civics go by with the base, the sub would take up the whole back, and the car would literally be rattling. Like I was like, how does this car not explode?
And like, how do you hear the music good in that shit?
That's all you heard.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, seriously, that's all you hear outside. And then your car's shaking, and their car is way smaller than your car. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yo. But yo, it still be a thing because I literally just saw one on my way to the office.
Yeah.
Not a Civic, but an Accord. With the way smaller tires that it needs. This was mad stupid.
Yeah, it's like people would take a crappy car, cheap car, and then soup it up with all this cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment.
Way more than the car's worth they would add to it, you know what I mean?
That was the
thing. I was just telling my people about that back in the day. We used to take because the parts on the inside of the car were detachable. Back in the day you could do that way easier than now. Everything's sewed in and all that. But before you could take the little plastic parts out and paint them like a different color and then put them in so that the inside of the car had dual color, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Little tricks I used to do,
Everybody wanted a system back then in the 90s,
Yeah. I mean, those people still exist, man. There's people that only care about doing crazy shit to their car. That's it. And then they'll keep that car and they'll get one of those hoopties, like the ones we was talking about, like the Civics and the Corollas. They'll get those to beat on and do all the shit they want to do. Put a wow system in it that doesn't even match the car,
Yep.
Those people are still out there. They're just older now. They were younger when we were young, but now they're old like us and they're still doing it.
Yeah. And the pawn shops would just be riddled with cheap equipment, man. You just get you had to be careful.
Crazy amplifiers.
Yeah.
Crazy amplifiers, all types of stuff like that, yo.
You had to be careful.
It's still like that.
You had to be careful what you bought because the quality of the product is what mattered. Because all they'd be like, yo, this is 2,000-watt subwoofer, but it'd be like a pyramid junk thing. It sounded like crap. You know what I mean? It depended.
Yep.
The brand really mattered in the types of wattage.
Oh yeah. Stuff. Yep. And you had to have whatever it was that went with it to make the sound better. Say the highs of that amp were a certain thing. You had to get the tweeters to match, and it was crazy, yo.
Yeah,
I definitely. I'm glad I didn't have a license or a car when all that was going on, because I probably would have been caught up in all that.
I was caught up in it. I had quite.
I'm sure, dude.
I had quite the system until it was stolen and left in Lawrence, but.
Yeah, man.
It
was at the wrong party.
I had a Jeep.
You was at the wrong party or the wrong girl's house or some shit.
No, I was at the gym in Plastow, right on the Haverhill line. And I was working out, and I had a Jeep Cherokee at the time. And Cherokees, I didn't realize, were really easy to steal because they could break the side window real easy.
Yep.
So
the little corner joint, right? The little corner window, right?
Yeah, on the front.
Yep.
So they smashed that, got in,
and then they could break the switch easy too.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how they got me.
I remember those.
That's how they got me. Moving on.
I remember those, bro.
Moving on. Let's talk about you. Going back to you. So in this whole Lawrence thing, when did you decide, hey, I want to be a DJ?
Real talk. I tried to make my freshman and sophomore basketball teams in high school, because I was super nice, from the age of 12 to 16, something like that.
Yep.
I was a point guard type, combo guard type. and you know, could shoot, could pass, all that. So I was trying to ball, but I hadn't played organized ball. I just played street ball. But I was taking like fucking 30-year-old dudes' money and shit like off the block, like it was crazy. So then I didn't make freshman, and I was better than half the team. And they were like they basically just took everybody that played boys club. So they were like, yo, you didn't play organized ball, so you wasn't on this one. So then boom, the next year comes, I'm even better, and I know I'm better than almost all these guys. Boom, so improve in the come up and in the tryout, and nothing. I didn't make the team either. So then I was like, all right, cool. Well, that career's over. And I just gravitated to music. I was like, what's like the number one thing you do when you wake up? You know, you just turn something on, you know?
Right.
So then I naturally gravitated to music, and then I was doing like pause tapes in like high school, probably like 15, so like 94, no, 95, 96. I was doing like fake clue tapes and shit. And then I had like a crazy setup where I was doing the pause tapes. I had like a table, tape player, CD, like all that stuff. You know how you had the tower back in the day.
What exactly,
and then
just stop you real quick. What exactly is a pause tape? I haven't heard that term.
Like it's like where you're not really mixing the two records together.
Oh, record pause?
You know how like, yeah, like basically like record and pause, but it was a little bit more, you had a little bit more, like there was a little bit more ways you could manipulate it a little bit. You could put a couple little sound effects or something to get you into the next song, but it was basically a pause, record and pause tapes, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But there was already dudes DJing in my high school when I was like 14, 15. There was already dudes putting out tapes. Like Gerald had already started putting out tapes when I was like 15 or something, you know? So then when I was 17, I bought some Gemini turntables from my man Harry, that he had bought them trying to like sample stuff, and like he just started hustling. So he was like, fuck this. So he got rid of the tables. And then I bought the tables really to sample records, to produce hip hop records. But after I bought the tables, I realized like, you don't got no beat machine. How the hell are you gonna sample anything? So then I just started DJing, and then I upgraded the mixer with some the mixer had like an 8-second sample little thing where you could sample beats, where you could loop them and stuff you didn't have instrumentals to. Yep. So I just started DJing, and then I fell in love with it, and then I upgraded my equipment again, probably like 99. I was like 17, almost 18. Then I bought some Techniques and some and a Vestax 07 mixer. So then it was really on, you know. I was using my people's things, and then they would give me like, 30 minutes in the club to DJ, or an hour on their stuff, but I had to get my own things in order to get right, you know.
Right. So was it like more about DJing in the beginning, or putting together mixtapes? Oh, yo. I think we had a little bit of a technical difficulty.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about.
You there?
Anyway, yeah, I'm here. So what was the question again?
Yeah, was it more about making mixtapes, or was it more about
at first it was just about being heard, and it was about getting in somewhere where people kind of noticed what was going on, you know. So like my peoples around Lawrence were doing like these 2-room jams where they would do like kind of like, house party like type joint. So it'd be like we'd get these halls, and then one room would be like hip hop and R&B, and then the other room would be like reggae and house.
Yep.
So we'd be killing it with these 2-room jams, and the flyers would be like old school with the drawings, like old hip hop flyers. And I ended up just getting in through that way, being able to DJ an hour here, half hour there, whatever. And then from there, it definitely progressed into doing more shows, and then eventually honing the mixtape skills, because at the time, mixtapes were like everything, you know the deal. And then also like there was just so much dope hip hop coming out, and the mixtape DJs were killing it at the time, you know, between Tony Touch and even Flex was doing albums, like mixtape albums.
Yep.
So then from there, I was like, okay, well, I got to at least hone some type of skill outside of doing clubs and DJing live. So I just decided to start doing mixtapes, and kind of like in that same Tony Touch, Dirty Harry, SNS, Ron G, Clue style, you know, some mixing, some talking, some sampling. And then I did a few like that under like my first DJ name. And then eventually I was like, all right, well, this name isn't gonna be long lived. I was still kind of interim with the name. I wasn't fully sold on it. It was just DJ D. So then I was like, okay.
Your name?
D, yeah, DJ D, yeah, literally DEE.
D.
So then, because then I was in a group with a DJ named E, so it was just like, oh, E and D, you know.
We always joke about first names. We always joke.
Late '90s shit, man.
Yeah.
And then eventually I was like, all right, well, I gotta figure out like a name. So then I just chose Deadeye out of it was like a nickname for like a marksman, like a sniper, like someone who's on point all the time, or just was like somebody who was like reliable, you know?
Yeah.
So I chose that name, and I realized nobody had it, and it just stuck, you know? And people just it just was natural from D to Deadeye. I don't know why, but it was. Right. And then I did a mixtape in like 03, where I changed my name to Deadeye, and then I did like probably like 500 or 600 out the trunk with that, and then that was it from there, you know.
Right.
Yeah. And I've done probably since then. I've probably done like 60 or 70 mixtapes or something like that.
Yeah. Forgotten art form these days.
Yeah, it is, man. I still want to do a couple things in that you know, in that art form. Is just for a while, you know, at first you're just trying to get your name out. You're just doing tapes like with new songs and things like that. But after a while, I was like, okay, I already got my name solidified in that situation. So I started doing like strategic tapes where it was just mainly maybe one artist or something like that, and just making it super dope and fly for their specific fans. And then
right.
their fans are now my fans because of that, you know?
Right.
So I did that with like Redman, and I did that with like Ransom and a couple other people.
Yeah.
And then that got me in a different space too, you know?
Right.
And then from there, like I said, even from then to now, that's the type of tape that I would be doing, would be something like that, you know? Like I did one that was like in the vein of it's called Full Metal Jacket, and it was in the vein of like Tony Touch 50 MCs. But it was also conceptual. I was just obsessed with the movie Full Metal Jacket for some reason, this like summer into like fall. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna make a tape. It's gonna be a concept tape, and it's gonna be like all the rappers on it are like recruits. You know what I mean? And everybody got their story they trying to do, you know, whatever to show and prove to the drill sergeant. So it was kind of like that kind of concept, and people loved it, and it was dope because I put up and comers with like guys that are already solidified. So people loved it. But again, it was like another strategic type tape. It wasn't just new songs, you know?
Right. No, me and you got similar backgrounds in that. I kind of did that too. You know, I made mixtapes, worked with custom mixtapes, did all that before I became a promoter. That was my whole background. You know, it was tough. You know, it was tough to sell mixtapes in that market. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because it was so saturated. It was so saturated.
Yeah. Where were some of the spots you sold your mixtapes at?
Damn, I wish I remembered some of the names of these joints, but definitely my man Gary used to hold me down. He used to have he got a store out in Lawrence right now called Currency, but he used to have a store in the mall. And then my other man's damn, I forget his name. I'll definitely big him up when I see him, but he used to have a store in the Square One Mall. Yeah. So I had tapes in those two joints, and then I had them in like Skippy White's. And then eventually, once like 50 and them were like mainstreaming mixtapes and Green Lantern and stuff, then like Newbury Comics and like Bull Moose and these places started selling mixtapes. So then I was not only working at Newbury Comics, but also selling the shit out of my mixtapes there. You know what I'm saying? So it was a good look.
I want to talk about Newbury Comics because that was the Newbury Comics in Salem, correct?
Yep.
That was an iconic, for people who live in that area, that was the #1 spot to get music, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Circuit City had a lot of big collection next door to it, but it wasn't really lifestyle. Their collection was crazy too. But Newbury Comics was selling vinyl.
Vinyl, CD singles, like shit you couldn't find anywhere.
Yeah.
That's everything.
Yeah, man. That was the ill spot. How long did you work there? What was that like working there?
It was crazy, man. I used to get the whole like, because it was just, you know how it is with that area.
Yeah.
So people come in and be like, dude, anybody ever tell you look like Method Man, bro? Like for like 7 years straight, I got that every day I worked. Shit was the weirdest shit ever.
That's
and then I would show them, I'd be like, oh yeah, Meth's my boy, look. And then they'd be like, oh shit, you know.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, yeah. And I'd be like, I don't really see it. What do you see, you know? But I worked there from like 01 to like 08 straight.
Damn.
And then I did one-offs and I was there for like a year back, year there and whatever, you know. Afterwards, probably like 2013 to like 2015, things like that. It's just easy work. The environment's cool.
Yep.
You know, I can be myself.
Yep.
So it's a good time. But yeah, those people held me down heavy.
I remember driving by it not too long ago, and it moved. I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's in the mall. It's in the mall now.
Yeah, and then, you know, the Newbury Comics nowadays, it's not really music based. It's all like toys.
Yeah, they still got some. They still got some like that, like the old school stores. But you gotta find them. Most of the ones that were close to malls went into malls.
Yeah, and they're like selling.
And then now they're just pop culture stores, you know.
Toys
with like T-shirts and stuffed animals and shit, you know. Toys, yeah.
They adapted.
But there are like the one in Manchester. That one never moved into the mall, even though they're close to the mall. And they're still like super. They still buy used. You know, they have mad CDs, DVDs, vinyl. Even the store in Salem, even though it's a mall store, the vinyl sells crazy. So it's packed with vinyl.
Yeah, the vinyl came back not too long ago. I remember.
It's actually been a minute. You know, it seems like it hasn't, but it's been like 10 years that vinyl's been back.
Yeah, it's the collector side of things. You know, people want to collect something, and the vinyl is kind of resurged that way, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember
the market being just oversaturated in like the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
And then vinyl like dying for like 2 or 3 years, and then eventually just like re-picked back up, you know?
Yeah. I used to work at the Circuit City next to the Newbury Comics in 98, 99.
Wow.
Yeah, and I would get my check
and go right next door.
I had Technique 1200s at the time, and I'd spend half my check on buying vinyl, doubles of everything new that came out, and CDs. I mean, man, I spent so much money at that place.
Yes. Yo, dude, I used to work, and then like by the time I got paid, you know, half the check's gone because I'm just like piling up stuff all week. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was tough in them years trying to just keep the finances right.
Who was the manager there? And I want to say in the late 90s, he was a white dude. Like he looked kind of like a metal rock guy, like long.
He was definitely a metal dude. That's my man Nick.
Hip hop.
Nick Corrales or Corrales or something like that. That was my dude, you know.
He liked hip hop, right? Because he always him talking about it, stalking it heavy and playing it, and always being like, "Yo, this stuff."
Yeah, he was a super fucking dude guy.
Yeah,
he was a metal guitarist. He's still around doing stuff. I think he hit me up like a few months ago. I think he's like a grower now in like Maine and shit.
Sure.
You know, for sure. But yeah, man, Nick, yeah, heavily. I owe that dude some like super props because he's the one who got me in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I remember for years people were like, dude, how the fuck you get in here? Like, I was like, yo, homie, hold me down, you know?
I remember a story. I went in there and he was playing. You know how they'd play the whatever was playing on the stereo. They put the CD right on the desk saying now playing, so you could know what it was.
Yeah.
And, it was Zion I, Mind Over Matter. I had never heard of these guys. It's like 99, 2000. And I'd be like, yo, I need to buy this right now. And it was the only copy, and he sold it to me. He was so freaking pissed he had to give away the copy. He's like, dog. I was like, you should have played it. Why are you playing it?
It'd be like that. Sometimes that's how it would be, and we'd be like, all right, cool, yeah, whatever. It wouldn't even matter because it's like you're making the store money,
Yeah,
you know, and we're gonna get the CD back. So
but that's what
we
I'm
would
talking
encourage
about.
they would encourage that shit, you know.
But that was like the underground West Coast album that probably most people hadn't even heard of, and he's in there playing it, promoting it, underground hip hop in '99. That's the type of store that was, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
that was the ill store. The people, you had to know music to work in there. It was like, yo, it was dope.
that's a fact, bro. That's a fact. You had
Dope.
to know what you was talking about. You had to know different things. You had to have different skills. You know, everybody brought different things to the table. You
Yep.
know, it was definitely a great, great, great environment for music. Period. You know,
Yep.
we used to have label reps come through, bring stuff. You know, we had advanced copies of things. You know, I remember we did the overnight release date for the Kanye 50 Cent album. You know, we had the all the CDs in the front, and people came and picked what they wanted. Like, it was crazy. It was just a different time, you know.
And back then, the Newbury Comics were 90% music. It wasn't
Yeah.
anything else. There's a couple
Yep.
posters in the back,
Yep.
you know, a couple
And then a
toys.
bunch of dumb little toys on the side.
Yeah.
But
And
overall, it was music. It was like
music.
CDs and vinyl, heavy, and tapes.
Not many comics either. There wasn't many
Yeah,
comics.
it'd be like the big comics, and then it'd be like mad magazines, like weird ass magazines and shit. Yeah, and
So,
sunglasses.
shout out Newbury Comics, man.
Yeah, shout out Newbury Comics, man.
Bull Moose too, you know, I mean, all that.
Yeah, yeah.
So when do you meet Term and form ST the Squad? When does that happen?
Term and Ed already has Street, like an old, you know, from like high school, because they're like 2 years younger than me.
Yep.
So then like I meet Ed in like '02. He does a freestyle for me before I'm Deadeye, and before he's Easy Money, obviously. And he does a freestyle for me, and then I use it on a tape, just a local tape. This is before I did like big copies. And then he told Term about me, and then Term came through and did 2 freestyles for me in like '03. And then both of the freestyles that he did for me, he ended up using on Hot Politics 1. So then after that, it was like, you know, now we're getting somewhere. And then we did Hot Politics 2. Another one he did for me is on that. Then we did a bunch of tapes. We started doing shows. And then for them, they had the Street thing. And then they formed ST the Squad, I believe, in like '03, '04 or something like that. Maybe even a little earlier, like before I was even around.
Yep.
And then, yeah, they just opened it up. They had the single as like a group, and then they just wanted to open it up to bring fam in. And they already had Snuck and Artisan already with them, and a couple other dudes.
Clip One.
Clip, for sure.
Everybody.
And then like later, probably like, I was already doing a lot of things with Term, but like probably like by like '05 was like when I was like official, like ST, you know?
Right.
Something like that. Maybe '04.
And you're officially Terminology's DJ at this point, right? Like that's
probably like by '04.
Yeah.
Because I was DJing for local group here, and then I was DJing for Crumb for like a year.
Right.
You know, and then Term was in Wolves, and Hectic was in Wolves, and you know, it just naturally we just built a camaraderie.
Because that's how I feel like around the Middle East, I kept seeing you because you were Terms, you were DJing for Term, and then you bring out ST the Squad, and that's kind of you ended up in the Middle East as much as you did.
Yeah, for real. Super, yo. You've done a bazillion shows there, bro.
Yeah, you have.
And then
what's some of your favorite shows? What show do you think is like some of your best?
One that sticks out to me is the one, the Slain one with Action Bronson, where he like slammed the kid or whatever.
Oh yeah.
The one Parker was at.
Yeah.
Bunch of random shit where I was just on some fan shit. Bone Thugs.
Yep.
Crazy. Damn, dude, there's so many shows, bro. I seen people that I had never heard of or seen before there, like Snow the Product. I saw her when she was already big, but she hadn't had a market out here like that.
Right.
And she killed it, you know. So I mean, some of the shows with us that was really good was like the physiology show with Fame.
That was a good one.
And us. That was crazy. A lot of the Sling ones, a lot of the St. Patrick's Day joints with Sling were great.
Yeah, because you transitioned from DJing for Term and ST into you also started DJing for Slane later on too, correct?
Yeah, like 2011.
Yeah, and I think
that was super random too.
What made you stand out as a DJ is you were good on the mic too. Like you weren't like just dropping the records and then saying anything. You were on the mic, you were hyping the tracks. I think that's why, I know that's why it works really well, for you.
Yeah, for sure. That's the main reason I got the Slane gig was because I could do that. You know what I mean? And then with Term and them, it was just a natural progression. With me, I was looking for somebody more my age that had the same kind of hunger and same kind of drive.
Yeah.
With Term. So then when we hooked up, it was just kind of like a natural thing. But with me and Celine, it was more of like a job, like get in there and make this the best way possible it could work for both parties and for everybody involved. And it just worked out really well, you know?
Yeah.
And it coincided with him near the end of his like craziness and going into his sobriety.
Oh yeah, I remember quite well.
Yeah, you know the deal.
And then you ended up even touring with Term, right? You guys went with Red and Meth. What are some out of state stuff you guys did?
Yeah, the first thing I ever did outside of he had toured before me like in like high school with like Acro and them dudes, you know?
Yep.
But my first, and I'd only done shows in Mass and maybe New Hampshire. And then the first thing we did was we toured in 04. We did a tour and like we went to VA and we went to DC and was with Sean P and Rusty Jooks.
Yep.
And Rock from Helter Skelter and next level shit. Then after that, like P&M became Fam and forget it. That was the first time I had done something outside of New England. Right. And then after that, we did a bunch of stuff in between there, right before like Watch How I Go Down is coming out. And then Watch How I Go Down comes out, and then we're everywhere doing mad shows in New York, just trying to get our foot in different doors.
Yeah.
And then in 08 we did the first like national tour with Red and Meth. We were the official openers for that tour. So like they would add different after a few weeks they would add new acts or random acts. Some acts would leave the tour and we'd get new acts, and we would still be the dudes right before Red and Meth come out.
Dope.
Even though they added like Wu-Tang members, Little Brother, Evidence the Alchemist, we would still be right before Red and Meth.
Damn.
They just seen us rock for the first few weeks and just seen our energy level was just really high, and that's what they wanted.
Yeah, dude, that's quite the accomplishment right there.
Sure.
A lot of people get on bills like that, but they're not going on right before the headliner.
Exactly, and they're just on there because they paid and just they got their slot and that's it. They don't feel like they gotta do more work.
Shout out Geechee Suede, Camp Low in the building.
Oh, that's my guy right there. That's my guy, yo. That's one of my favorite people in rap I ever met, yo. Real talk.
He was super cool. Every time I did a Camp Low show, shout out to Geechee.
Yeah, Geechee's the man. One of the best rappers in the world. You know what I'm saying? One of the best people in the earth. That's my guy right there. We met in like 09 in like Hip Hop Camp. We did it was like a 20,000 person festival in Czech Republic.
Yeah, I saw a little bit about that where you guys got in a fight. It didn't go so well.
Oh yeah, it's crazy, bro. Like just drunken stupidity shit, super young, not knowing what the hell's going on. Yeah. We're in a foreign country. We don't know the tendencies of the people or how they talking or whatever, so
yeah,
a lot of crazy shit going on in them years, man. So yeah, we did that show and they were on the bill. La Coca was on the bill. Method Man was on the bill. Planet Asia, Tri-State, all them dudes, Zion I. Speaking of Zion I, they were on the bill.
Yeah, rest in peace, Zumbi.
Yes, sir.
moving forward, I want to talk about going into making your album, your compilation, your first one, Substance Abuse, correct?
Yes, indeed.
Talk about that. I'm sorry, I don't have the track listed in front of me. Talk about making that project and who's on it and stuff like that.
That was a wild time. That probably took about 7 years to make that record. Just a lot of cashed in a lot of favors, a lot of relationships, juiced a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
Just kind of strategically went about it, but also this is my first time doing this, so I'm making a lot of mistakes. I'm spending a lot of money. I probably put like 20 racks into that record,
Yep.
over the years. And then, just getting in the door in them years, because it came out in 2010 or 2011. And, it took those 7-8 years to make it. So those are the years I'm getting in the door. I'm finally touring outside of Mass, and we're building a buzz. So literally just maneuvering throughout those years was how I got that record done.
Yeah.
And then obviously besides the money, but just getting all the relationships, and then Term helping out with some things, Term's management at the time helping out with some things, and then just really recruiting ST to really like help me finish this record,
Yeah.
Easy played a big part. He's on like 8 or 10 records on that,
Yeah. It's not an easy process making something like that. I've done it myself.
Not at all.
I've got like 4 or 5 of those. I'm working on one now. It takes a lot of patience and a lot of persistence. And
definitely, man.
And money.
Yeah. And sometimes getting lucky, because sometimes you could envision something coming out dope, and then when you get all the pieces together, it's not it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a crazy process, bro. I know you know what's up.
Oh, definitely. And do you go like, what do you do? Like, how do you put it together? Do you like you get the beat first, or do you kind of envision the artist you want to work with first? Get in your head?
I definitely have an envision of the artist, not first, because that's a lot of artists to just think about you're gonna do, but I do make a list of people I kind of want to work with.
Yep.
And then usually what I do is I get people that I work with normally that I have great working relationships with, and I mix them with people that they've never worked with, or that, say it's like a nobody to some people, and then a somebody, putting them in the same room and trying to work some magic. So sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it'll be like the skeleton of the beat. Like I'll like the drums, and I'll just take the drum and I'll have my boy play bass on it, or piano, bring in a guitar player, figure out what the concept is, and then like add a rapper and a singer or whatever,
So you get involved. So you're actually getting involved in the actual production of it as well.
Yeah. I produce all the records. All the records are mine. The only one on this last album I didn't have a hand in was the Slain and Right Hook joint with that from Archetype. Archetype did all that, but everything else I put together or had a hand in,
So I want to go back then. The Living Lost video record.
Yep.
With Slain, Esoteric, the original. Slain,
yep.
Esoteric, and Crumb Snatcher.
Mm-hmm.
Produced, I thought for some reason DC, the MIDI Alien, did that one.
DC. I outsource. I have different ways of production, right? I do shit where I do everything. I could, get the sample, make the drums, chop everything, do whatever I got to do, add whatever I need to add. And then there's times where I outsource everything and put it together myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So like that beat was just some beat in DC's computer. I took the beat, and then I was like, yo, I want to do some shit that's just a little bit like different. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like a normal type hip hop song where it was like bragging and shit, So obviously I wanted to work with Slain.
Yep.
So Slain comes through. He's in the middle of his crazy fucking serious situations that he was doing. And he comes through. He got the dollar already open through the door. He's like, he's offering everybody some, and then fucking everybody reneges. Then he's like,
wow.
he goes, I never been in a room with 4 Puerto Ricans that don't do coke. Yo, it's dying, bro. So then he comes through, he bodies his shit.
Then he says, that's cool, more for me.
That's cool, more for me. So then boom, he goes in there, he like 1 or 2 takes, bodies it, And then at the end of it, he says, Living Lost. So I was like, yo, that's it. That's the fucking name of the song.
Yep.
So then, boom, he leaves, and I start planning everything else out. I knew I wanted to work with SO, and then I had those 2 verses, and I was like, I gotta get that level of rapper, but I was limited in my resources.
Yep.
Obviously, I had Crumb on deck, so I had Crumb come through, and then Crumb did a hook on it, and it was just like real aggressive. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because the beat just commands it. But that wasn't what Sling's verse was about. Sling's verse was about like being vulnerable and shit, you know? So nobody really knew that Ed could really like sing a little bit. So
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? This is where we can debut that. And then he smashed it, you know, and every time, you know, around that time when the album had come out, people were like, yo, I was waiting for Easy to start rapping, and I didn't hear him. And I'm like, yeah, he's on the hook singing. They're like, what?
Yeah.
So it was dope. It was just a different approach, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
And then you go to like say like the B side to the Living Lost. I mean, it's a B side, but really it was a digital single. But the B side to that was the Had It Coming joint, where my man had the sample. We added the drums. Then I had my man come through and play the piano over it, and then we made it a thing, you know?
dope.
And then we got Suge, and then Suge set the tone, and then after that, I was like, all right, I want to make like a militia type joint with just Gangstar affiliates. So then we got Freddie Fox, Term put in that favor, and then I got Panchy, or me and Term ended up getting Panchy through a Premiere.
Dope.
And then I got Premiere on the album because I had got his artist at the time, Nick Jarvis, on it, and he recorded the verse. So Premier's name was in the credits.
Shout out to GOAT.
Yo, seriously. But all types of shit like that is how those names ended up appearing on the record, you know? Like we had toured the way we got cool with Nick Jarvis was we was on tour. We got to England, London. Me and Term get fucking kicked out of the country because we don't have like the right paperwork for some reason. And then we get deported back to fucking Switzerland. Just so happens that night that we got deported back, Premiere got a show in Zurich with Nick Jarvis.
Dope.
And then we went and did the show, bodied it, and then me and them got super cool after that, you know?
And I think it speaks, you know, when you do a project like that, it speaks to your relationships, who you're working with, like you said, and the work that you've put into to keep these relationships and network. I mean, you're out there mixing and mingling with everybody, building, growing your brand, growing your relationships, growing your network. I mean, you have put in a lot of work and have earned all those relationships. And a lot of people don't have necessarily that work ethic to sustain that, you know?
Yeah, they think they've reached whatever level of success that they think that they can achieve. So they're like content, you know?
And you haven't slowed down since I've met you. You know?
Yeah. I mean, recently, yeah, just you know, just from like not drinking and not being at mad places all the time and shit like that. My things have slowed down a little bit. But yeah, in terms of just trying to be somewhere and trying to do some things, for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, I always admired you guys' work ethic, STU, Ed.
Appreciate that, bro.
It was almost too much. It was like, dude, these guys are just friggin' everywhere. I can't escape these guys. You know.
Yeah. It was another thing too, like just having the I guess small town like chip on our shoulders too. You know what I mean? And just being like, nah.
Lawrence, Haverhill, 978. You know, and dudes in Boston, you know, they had the chip on their shoulder. You know, you guys aren't from Boston. You know what I mean? That was a tough thing.
Which is wild because now people want to be on this Massachusetts rapper shit. From before, like they didn't give a fuck about that shit.
It was a tough one because you had Bostonians that were in there being like, yeah, you know, who these guys out of state saying they Boston.
Yeah,
people calling,
exactly.
The problem was that people were calling New England hip hop Boston hip hop, and that was the problem because not everybody was from Boston, and
people were just taking it literal, you know.
Yeah.
When you go to these countries and shit, and outside of your comfort areas, you notice that you know, all they don't know fucking what the hell Vermont is or what the hell Maine is. They don't know anything about what that shit is. They just know Boston, they know Red Sox, they know Celtics, they know LOG, they know Slane, you know, they know Rex, they know Term, you know, they know Guru, like, you know, they just, that's what they know, you know. So it's tough in that sense. In the local sense, then yeah, I get it, you know, but in the overall world sense, it's just like, it's just a petty dumb, it was a petty dumb thing, you know.
Yeah, but you guys broke through it, man, and sustained, and
For sure, man.
You're still doing it, and it's amazing. And now you finished this other compilation 10 years later.
Yeah, crazy. I can't even believe it took 10 years. That shit's bananas.
It can. It's called The Intervention, correct? Or Intervention?
Yeah, Intervention, yeah.
And I'm guessing you're playing this off because you stopped drinking, and that's kind of...
It's weird because I already had the name. I already had the name Intervention as my next. I was gonna do an EP in between substance abuse and whatever the next record was, just to like hold people off, like a small intervention. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So this was like an idea in like 2011, 2012, and then just so happens like life imitated art, and here we are with this record after almost 3 years no drinking and just being in a whole nother mind state, and just it's crazy how this shit just worked out, you know. It really is weird. Like it really took me aback. Like when I finally finished the record and the art was done, I was like, yo, this is fucking nuts.
You know, you talk about not drinking. What was the moment? When was it like? Did it sink in that like, yo, I can't drink anymore? Like, what happened? Like, what was the moment?
I had a few situations where I probably should have. You know what I'm saying? But you don't listen to that. You know the deal, because you already. How many years you got?
12 years sober.
Yeah. So you know you get those alarms, and you're supposed to heed those warnings, but you're just lost in the sauce. You don't really know what the hell you're doing. Yeah. So then you get these other like stronger alarms, you know what I'm saying, that are supposed to wake you the fuck up and have you make the change. So for me, it was like I had a bunch of like small alarms, then I had a really fucking big alarm, and I didn't heed the warning, and I kept going, you know what I'm saying, thinking that like, oh, it was all good. And then I got another, you know, potentially super big alarm, but it wasn't as deadly, and the consequence could have been really fucking crazy, but I decided to quit and like make that pact with the Most High or whatever, and just stick to those guns. So when I stuck to those guns, everything ended up working out back in my benefit. And then that's when I was like, all right, well, this is it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can tell you one funny story where your drinking got in my way. You want to know it?
Oh, for sure. Oh, let me know anytime.
You're at one of my events, and you're not even performing, and you're hanging out backstage, and you friggin' grabbed the headliner's Hennessy and fucking finished it.
What show was it?
I don't remember which one it was, but I remember you going back there. I look back.
That's fucking hilarious.
And then
I love it.
At the end of the night, and all the Hennessy's gone, and I'm like, fucking Deadeye, drink.
Was it upstairs or downstairs?
Downstairs.
Probably downstairs. Yeah, downstairs. Crazy.
I forgave you quickly for it, but I was like,
oh yeah.
I have a problem.
I was usually never one of the trouble guys, but
yeah, you kept it quiet. But apparently, you were drinking people's alcohol on the low.
Probably. Apparently, you know. Yeah, I was when you know what it was too, is like we had a crazy ass like late 2000s, early 2010s. Well, we was literally on tour maybe like for like 5 or 6 years straight, you know, off and on, a couple weeks here, month here, whatever, but then back on the road. So I just built up this whole crazy, you know, you build up this crazy lifestyle of just getting whatever you want, doing whatever you feel.
Right.
2 bottles a night, you know, endless booze,
yep.
You know, any fucking weed, drug you need, whatever.
Yep.
So then it slows down. Eventually it slows down. You get back to a normal schedule. But then what happens is your life slows down, or your whatever you're doing in work, but that doesn't mean that your mentality or your lifestyle is ready to stop.
Right.
So then you're trying to fill that void of drinking every night and being up all the time in your regular life when you're trying to do, you know, important shit just to get by, you know?
Yeah.
So that's when it started becoming a problem. But then you don't realize it, you know, you're in this fucking depression, you're in this stupor, this just, you know, living day to day kind of thing.
Yep.
And then, you know, you get these alarms and then eventually something clicks, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what it was, you know?
Totally get it, man. Been there.
Yeah, I had a few, and then I had one that was just like really, really like embarrassing and shit.
Yeah.
But the Most High kept me safe. So now I was like, yo, you know what? This ain't it. You know, this ain't it for me. So boom, that shit got retired and shit been great since then. No lie. And
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
even miss that shit. I don't miss that shit at all, bro. Like at all. And you see how crazy motherfuckers would get at these shows.
yeah, I mean, I always say that the music business kind of accelerated our drinking because of what you said, you know, free booze, everyone's drinking, we're in clubs and bars. It just speeds up the process of the problem. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, dude.
You know, it's like I said, I was 29. I got sober at 29. I was going to die, you know, and it wasn't, and it was just because I was in, you know, Monday night, Saturday night. I can't tell the friggin' difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nah, you're right. That's what it was. And then, you know,
Studio.
I hated waiting at the bar.
Oh,
So like I would go to the bar at the Middle East, especially. I would go to the bar. I would fucking get 2 16-ounce beers,
yep.
so I wouldn't have to wait. And then I'd go into the party, but I would be drinking 2 16-ounce beers in like 30, 40 minutes. So then it's a wrap after that, because then you're going back for 2 more. Now you're, you know, because what is it, 12 ounces is an hour you burn?
I don't know the math.
If you're drinking 2 16s, that's 32. It's a wrap, dog.
And
After just literally the first 30, 40 minutes, it's a wrap.
I used to be able to get those 16-ounce beers in the Middle East for like $4. You know, they were cheap, the PBR boys. And
Yeah,
know,
and the Narragansett joints.
yeah, and if you knew the bartender too, if you were drinking stiff drink, man, it'd be
Yeah,
like
you'd be good.
this much booze and this much fucking soda.
Yeah.
2 or 3 of those, you're like,
and then you go, you know, and then I'm getting off stage if we're opening or whatever, and everybody wants to buy you a drink,
and then it's off to the after party where it gets even crazier.
Yeah, and then for us, the after parties would be back in the 978, so we'd have to drive back. You know what I mean? Twisted. So yeah, it wasn't good times. It wasn't smart decisions being made.
No. Well, I'm glad.
Yeah. So yeah.
Glad you're doing better. On this album? What is talk about real quick some of like a track that stands out, the process making one of these tracks on there. Which one stands out to you? Memory stands out the most on this one, new one.
A few, you know, you know, the last track I did everything, from getting the artist to making the beat to finding the sample to everything, you know, so that's a dope baby right there to have out for the world to hear and shit. And then also other ones like, you know, like the single Written Kilos, you know, I had that beat for a little while. Me and Tone been building for a bunch of years, and then I got Feeve on it. And I was like, okay, there's something like I need to add to this in order to create the rest of the song. So then I had Terms artist Jam come through. He's like a very illmatic piano player, and he came in and he laced it just to give it some more dynamics, you know. And then after that, I felt comfortable. I was like, all right, cool, boom, we'll get Flea, and then we'll get Rashid, and then Whispers just came through last minute because he be in Lawrence a lot. He fucks with a few of my friends down the block that got a bodega and stuff.
Is that the original Whispers from back in the day, Whispers?
Nah, so there's a Boston Whispers.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
There's a Boston Whispers, and then there's Tommy Whispers, who's from Staten Island, who's also on my album. He lives in the area too, though. He lives in like the Malden, Medford area. And then there's this Whispers, who's from the Bronx, who's signed to Sheek Louch, and he's best friends with Chris Rivers with Pun Son.
Yeah, I know Chris.
Yeah, so this kid, Whispers, he's down with D Block, and he been on a lot of D Block songs. He did the hook on the song that Sheik put out called "St. Eyes Flow" with the locks on it.
Yep.
Like I think it was last summer. Crazy. It's over the Dog Pound New York beat.
Yep.
Out of here. I always wanted to work with him. It's just once I started seeing him in my hood, I was like, oh, we're gonna work for sure.
That's dope.
Yeah, man, that's my man. And then, you know, there's a couple other ones like the Living Lost remix. I got the DC gave me the slowed down version of that like a long time ago, like maybe like 06 or 07 or something. And
Shout out DC, man. He's such a slept on New England producer.
Super slept on. That dude's the beast, man.
So dope. I mean, I don't really all this shit is like fire to me.
All this shit. And this shit bangs crazy. He got some shit coming with Snuck soon, probably like sometime this year.
I'd like to see more of his stuff out there, man.
Yeah, for sure. I like the thing they did whatever year that was. It was some Avengers or something.
East
Coast.
Him. East Coast.
Yeah, it was him, SO, and Trademark, I think it was.
Yep. That was the whole fuck Bill O'Reilly thing they got in trouble for.
Yeah. Word up. Yeah. So DC, shout out to DC, man. Yeah. So I had that for a little bit, and then I just built this slowly. Like I got Reef, and then I got Black, and then I got Outer Space Dudes.
Yep.
And then I got Self.
Yeah, you made the whole AOTP track basically.
Yeah, basically. You know, I knew I didn't want to grab SO obviously because he was on the original.
Yeah.
And obviously Vinny and App are just in a different stratosphere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel that.
So I just reached out to the dudes that were attainable, and that were, you know, guys that I already knew who I was and already fucked with me. So, and then Rayel, I got her at the end. I recorded her hook, and it sounds almost exactly how it sounds on the record. She recorded it like that. Crazy.
Now
I moved my
recording in your studio. Do you have a studio in your house or whatnot?
I got my lab right here.
Yep.
And this is like my, you know, my vocal laying studio, and then I got a pre-production room next door, and then I got like a merch room right after that where it's just like building merch ideas and things like that. But at the time, I had a studio in my crib, and we sold the crib, and I moved all my stuff to Newburyport. My boy had bought like $1 million house up there, and I had all my shit in the fucking pool house. So she comes through at like, I don't know, like 9-10 p.m. and we're there till like 3-4 in the morning, and she's belting this hook and these bridges and this shit. And yo, we didn't get no complaints, no noise complaints, nothing. I even talked to my boy the next day. I was like, yo, did you hear us down there yesterday? Because it was fucking loud, you know, because she gets to like opera levels sometimes, you know?
Yep.
And they were like, nah, we didn't hear nothing. I was like, yo, this is ill. And then literally what she did like was almost to the T how it sounds on the record, you know? She's incredible. So that was a dope record to build. And then I got the guitar solo from my man Jackson. He used to be the guitarist for Head PE.
Oh no shit.
So when me and Slane toured in 2011 with Head PE, I got him to play guitar on the joint. He did a bunch of just freestyle over it, and then I had that since then. So that's like 10 years old too. That guitar solo.
Dope.
And then me and Bob chopped it up, you know. So me and him are literally picking what parts are we keeping and what we're not, you know. So from the inception of whatever beat or hi-hat that I get first to the mixing, mastering, I'm there for everything.
That's dope.
Yeah, man. It's like my babies, you know?
Yeah, I know. I totally agree. Bob Nash mixes and masters everything, I take it?
Oh, yeah. That's the Dawn right there.
That's the 9 and Dawn.
Yeah, that's the Dawn right there. Turn been working with him longer than me. I probably started working with him in like 04 or something like that.
Dope.
05.
Dope.
You know, but he mixes all the squad stuff. He did the Physiology album. He does a bunch of other random artists from out here and in Boston, you know.
That's dope.
Yeah, Bob's the man. Wonka Sam.
Wonka Sound, there it is. Well, wrap this up. It's been great catching up with you, man.
Oh yeah, man. It's always great. What's up with you? What are you doing now? You doing just different shit? You don't really want to fuck with the promo shit, right?
I'm doing promo, digital marketing, but I ain't doing booking shows right now because it's just too crazy.
Yeah,
You know,
there's no it's just too finicky, man.
yeah. So it's like I'm staying away from that. I mean, someone wants me to book a show for them, I do that and consult, and
Yeah,
then
if it's a guarantee, then yeah, do it. If it's something that you got to do yourself, then it's not even
yeah,
worth it at this point.
yeah, and then I help promote other people's events. I'm doing a little of this, a drive, a deliver. I'm making ends meet, but as far as promoting concerts, that's kind of not really happening right now. But
Mm-hmm.
a couple of
You
moves
had
here.
a crazy fucking run, bro.
Yeah, I know. 17 years, right?
That run was crazy right there, bro.
And you were there, and you guys were there the whole way.
Yeah, yeah, word up, yo, the whole time, we chose there, and prior,
No, I know. I before I was throwing shows, I remember seeing, you talked about Ed and Term doing street. I saw them at 17, 18 years old performing at the Middle East. I was at that battle, that Super Bowl battle that Ed won.
Yep,
Just a fan. I wasn't a
yep,
promoter, and I was there. And I worked for Metro Concepts, and I was there before
great.
that. I knew all those guys. I knew who everybody was. So. But I do miss putting, terminology plus 10, ST to squad plus 10 on the guest list.
Plus 15.
It used to be plus 20.
Yo, we used to go so deep, man.
Yeah. In 2005, it was plus 20. In 2010, it was plus 15. Now it's just plus 10, which is good to see.
Yeah, we cut it down, man. We cut it down. It's just fam only. No other randoms. That show was wild, though. Those years crazy, man. We go like 25 deep to the shows.
Oh, yeah. But
All
we're
right.
going to wrap it up, Deadeye. We'll talk soon, but I'm sure we'll see you soon. And I just want to thank
for sure. I got videos coming. The album's out everywhere. Intervention, DJ Deadeye Intervention. The CDs will be out the end of the month. Videos, new merch. So just stay tuned,
Definitely, man. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Leedz Edutainment Podcast, brought to you by Chubby Chick P Restaurant with 978 legend DJ Deadeye. Thank you, brother.
Guy, I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna hit you for some digital shit too soon, for sure.
All right, man. Talk soon.
Salute. Peace.